interesting times. Today's stories. United Nations envoy arrived in Yemen for emergency talks on Hodeida. Aquarius ship migrants finally reach land in Spain. Fear of separation shadows immigrant families crossing the US border. Former Trump campaign chief's bail is revoked and is ordered to jail. Angelina Jolie visits Iraq's devastated Mosul. Plus, fans remember celebrity chef Anthony Bourdain. And a fan's reaction to fashion icon Kate Spade's suicide. Hello everyone, I am Ace Ramirez, bringing you stories from around the globe, and this is Eagle News, Washington, D.C. The United Nations envoy for Yemen arrived in the rebel-held capital Sana'a on Saturday for talks on the key aid port of Hodeida, where rebel fighters are battling a regional coalition. Martin Griffiths is expected to propose to rebel leaders that they cede control of the Red Sea port to a UN-supervised committee to avoid further fighting with advancing government troops, which are backed by Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates.
More than 70% of Yemeni imports pass through Hodeida's docks, and the fighting has raised UN fears of humanitarian catastrophe in a country already teetering on the brink of famine. According to medical and military sources, the Yemeni government and its allies launched their offensive on Wednesday. At least 139 combatants have already been killed. The rebels have controlled the Hodeida region with its population of some 600,000 people since 2014. Earlier this year, the Saudi-led coalition imposed a near-total blockade on the city's port, alleging that it was being used as a conduit for arms smuggling to the rebels by its regional arch-rival Iran. The capture of Hodeida would be the coalition's biggest victory of the war so far, and on Thursday, rebel leader Abdel Malik al-Houthi called on his forces to put up fierce resistance and turn the region into a quagmire for coalition troops.
The 630 migrants whose rescue sparked a major migration row in Europe began disembarking in Spain on Sunday, after a turbulent week that saw Italy turn away the Aquarius ship. According to the Red Cross, the first of 3 ships transporting the group, an Italian Coast Guard vessel called the Dattilo, pulled into Valencia harbor just before 6:30 a.m. with 274 migrants on board.
Applause could be heard coming from the ship as it docked. Medical staff wearing white overalls, gloves, and masks then boarded the boat to carry out first medical checks as a police helicopter flew overhead. The migrants, mainly from Africa, were welcomed by a team of more than 2,000 people, including 1,000 Red Cross volunteers and 470 translators. Dozens of reporters who were on hand to cover their arrival were kept at a distance, and no top government officials were expected at the port. High waves and winds forced the convoy to take a detour on their 930-mile voyage to Spain. Their arrival marks the end of a week-long odyssey in the Mediterranean Sea. A huge banner was earlier put up at the port saying, "Welcome home," in various languages including Catalan, the local language, and Arabic. Johnson Tamayo, a 51-year-old artist and Red Cross volunteer, said, "People are coming forward for everything, serving as translators, providing accommodation." According to figures released by authorities in Valencia, the passengers are made up of 450 adult men and 80 women, including at least 7 pregnant women, as well as 11 under 13s and 89 adolescents. According to Doctors Without Borders, they come from 26 countries, mainly from Africa, but also Afghanistan, Bangladesh, and Pakistan. chartered by a French aid group, Aquarius rescued the migrants off Libya's coast last weekend. MSF, who along with French charity SOS Mediterranean were treating the migrants on board the ship, said 2 passengers drowned last weekend when the ship first encountered difficulties off Libya.
Up next, fear of separation shadows immigrant families crossing the U.S. border. Former Trump campaign chief's bail is revoked and is ordered to jail. Angelina Jolie visits Iraq's devastated Mosul. Eagle News Washington, D.C. will return in a moment.
Eagle Broadcasting Corporation not only provides news and entertainment, but also fulfills its social responsibility through clean-up drives, blood donations, medical mission, and livelihood seminar. Eagle Broadcasting Corporation into its 50th year.
What happened to your passing? You gotta support the puck. Do I have to tell you this? And we're getting killed on the boards. This is your territory, Grimson. Do your job. Grimson.
Hello? Hi, honey. What? Now? All right. The itsy bitsy spider climbed up the water spout. Down came the rain and washed the spider out. Out came the sun and dried up all the rain. And the itsy bitsy spider climbed up the spout again.
I love you, Daddy.
I love you too, sweetheart.
Hey, it's my girl.
You know, my daughter.
Love. Pass it on.
Pep News, Linggo, alas 4 hanggang alas 5 ng hapon.
Welcome back. You're watching Eagle News, Washington, D.C. Donald Trump promised to be uncompromising on illegal immigration. The U.S. Minister of Justice has been applying a zero-tolerance policy since April, even if that means separating families. As a result, over 6 weeks, nearly 2,000 minors were separated from their parents at the border.
Separated after illegally crossing the border into Texas, Edelberto and his 17-year-old son are some of the lucky ones. They were released and reunited just a few days later.
Pues para mí muy duro, fue uno de los días más duros para mí porque sentía que uno pierde al hijo. Eso es lo que uno piensa, que lo va a perder.
Only those fortunate enough to have avoided parting end up in humanitarian centers like this one. In a recent 6-week period, thousands of minors have been separated from their families and detained as part of the American government's zero-tolerance immigration policy.
The children are separated, they're put in a different cell, and while their parents are being processed, and in some cases, those families that are going to then be taken to the federal courthouse for prosecution for entering the country illegally, the children will be separated completely.
The policy is facing widespread criticism, including from the Republican Party, yet the Trump administration continues to defend it as necessary.
sanctuary policies are terribly wrong. And under the President Trump, the Department of Justice will not stand idly by while our laws are being nullified and undermined. We're taking every action we can take lawfully and properly to push back.
Volunteers working around the clock in the border town of McAllen help immigrant families before deportation.
If they were given a choice, if their country was stable and in peace, I'm sure they would choose to stay there, but they have to uproot themselves from that reality.
Most of these families are from Central America. Deportation will force them to return to some of the most dangerous countries on the planet.
A U.S. federal judge sent Paul Manafort, President Donald Trump's former campaign manager, to jail on Friday, ahead of his trial on money laundering, tax, and bank fraud charges. Judge Amy Berman Jackson revoked Manafort's bail over claims he was tampering with witnesses in the case against him brought by Special Counsel Robert Mueller, who is investigating possible collusion between Trump's 2016 election campaign and Russia.
69-year-old Manafort had been under house detention while awaiting trial later this year in Washington and in Virginia. The Washington Post quoted Jackson as telling Manafort, and I quote, "You have abused the trust placed in you 6 months ago. The government motion will be granted and the defendant will be detained." Manafort is the first former member of Trump's presidential campaign to be jailed in connection with the Mueller investigation. Mueller filed new obstruction of justice charges last week against Manafort, who has pleaded not guilty to the multiple counts against him. The new indictment came 4 days after prosecutors said Manafort had tried to contact 2 witnesses in his money laundering and bank fraud case via Russian fixer Konstantin Kilimnik to persuade them to make certain representations to investigators. Kilimnik, a former army-trained linguist with alleged ties to Russian intelligence, was included in an updated indictment of Manafort that accused both of witness tampering. It took the number of people indicted by the 13-month-old investigation by Mueller to 20, with 3 companies also facing charges.
UNHCR Special Envoy Angelina Jolie visits West Mosul, less than a year after the city's liberation. The visit marks Jolie's 61st mission and her 5th visit to Iraq with the UN Refugee Agency since 2011.
And was it all the fighting and the bombs that made him worse?
These people have lost everything, and the trauma and the loss that they've suffered is unparalleled. They're here on their own with very little support, next to nothing, and they're rebuilding themselves with their bare hand. And all that you're going through as a woman and mother, and I really wanted to meet you.
Fans remember celebrity chef Anthony Bourdain, and a fan's reaction to fashion icon Kate Spade's suicide. That's next. Eagle News Washington, D.C. will return shortly.
As Eagle Broadcasting Corporation marks its 50th year, it is conducting several activities under the theme EBC Cares, enabling a better community. Health and nutrition are key factors on child's learning and well-being. EBC's feeding program encourages the community to combat malnutrition among children and ensure them a healthy future. EBC's cleanup drive and citronella planting hopes to help the community in caring for the environment and preventing diseases such as dengue. EBC's public service program paglilingkod sa bayan, serbisyo para sa mamamayan, has opened its doors to government agencies so more people can avail of these services. EBC's blood donation program and medical mission continue to spearhead life-saving projects, and EBC's livelihood seminar teaches and guides those who want to have additional income and business. EBC Cares, serving the people in these interesting times.
Letters and Music, Lunes hanggang Biyernes, 1:00 hanggang 2:00 ng hapon.
This is Eagle News, Washington, D.C. I am Ace Ramirez. Fans remember celebrity chef Anthony Bourdain by leaving notes and flowers at Brasserie Lehal. Joanne Blanco Soriano reports.
New Yorkers took a moment to pay their respects to Anthony Bourdain through heartfelt messages and tokens of remembrance at his former restaurant. Bourdain committed suicide last Friday in France, leaving a void for fans from around the world, from top chefs to ordinary people. Bourdain was a celebrity chef, author, and television host of No Reservations and Parts Unknown. Flowers, drawings, gifts, and notes of grief, gratitude, admiration, and love cover the now shuttered Brasserie Lehal, where Bourdain was executive chef for a number of years. He launched into celebrity status with his article and best-selling memoir, Kitchen Confidential, about the dark inner workings of New York City restaurants. Messages Left Behind paid tribute to the man whose storytelling connected people and cultures through food and travel. He allowed viewers to experience different cultures and cuisines without prejudice. This is the second celebrity to take their life in less than a week. The restaurant is located on Park Avenue and 29th Street, just 48 blocks south of where Kate Spade also took her life in her Park Avenue apartment. Anthony Bourdain's legacy will continue to live on through the experiences he allowed the rest of the world to witness and enjoy through his eyes. Reporting from Lehal Restaurant in New York City, this is Joanne Blanco Soriano, 1 with 25.
A fan's reaction to fashion icon Kate Spade's suicide. Abby Maya reports.
She leaves a little bit of sparkle wherever she goes. These are the famous words of Kate Spade. And while her passing left the world in shock last week, her legacy will remain in the hearts of all her followers worldwide.
It's sad. Even though I didn't meet her, I don't know her, it's still sad. Everybody loves her purses. I don't know who doesn't. I own one myself. It's just very simple and very elegant, and pretty much just it matches with everything.
Reporting from New York City, this is Abigail Mayo, and I am 1 with 25.
That is today's Eagle News, Washington, D.C. Join us tomorrow for stories that matter to you. Visit our website at eaglenews.ph and eaglenewslive.com. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/eaglenewsph. Thank you for watching. I'm Ace Ramirez. I'm 1 with 25.